So Gamescom is regarded as the world's largest computer and video game event. And as such, we learn a lot of new stuff about what's coming down the pipeline. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Game Ranks, the 10 best new announcements from Gamescom 2024. I don't want to waste any time. Let's get into it. I'm really happy about this first announcement at number 20. It's Dying Light: The Beast. A completely brand new, tightly designed, as they're calling it, adventure with the original Dying Light protagonist, Kyle Crane. Now that might come as a bit of a surprise to players of the original Dying Light, because you could either blow yourself up in a big old sacrifice or mutate yourself into a zombie nasty, depending on your choices. Now, I don't know what exactly happened that allowed him to exist after the first game's endings. I'm getting the feeling that the zombie nasty one might has something to it, because he's got a bit of a beast thing going for him. He's got one of his eyes looks infected, whether it's pink eye or some kind of virus that gives him beast powers. We don't know. They've been calling it a tightly crafted standalone adventure, though, which is interesting. It definitely implies a smaller game, but I don't know how upset I am at that. I kind of like the idea of a focused Dying Light. We have no idea when this game is going to land, but it's something to look forward to, that's for sure. And number 19 is Kong Survivor Instinct. Now, it is important to note that this was announced the day before Gamescom, but aligning announcement with Gamescom, I'm going to count it. Now, what we found is that this is a side-scrolling platforming action game, and that's, in my opinion, a pretty refreshing surprise for a Kong game. It also puts us in the role of somebody who would just be a random bystander in a Kong movie, and places it very shortly after the events of 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong movie. I think this is just a really novel perspective, and I also think that side-scrolling is a really good idea, because as much as first person is meant to emulate a direct human perspective, to have scale where you've got these giant monsters on screen and humans who are just tiny, I kind of like that. It's something we haven't really seen in a game like this. Now, the trailer didn't show us any Godzilla action, but I mean, the title is Kong Survivor Instinct. You never know. We are going to see Abaddon, though. We've never seen Abaddon in a video game that I'm aware of anyways. I don't know. Honestly, I see a lot of potential in this game, and it's not even way far off. This game is coming in fall of this year to the PlayStation 5, so I'm excited for it. My one gripe, the voice acting in that voiceover, not particularly good. Not mind-numbingly bad, not ruining the game bad, but I hope the game doesn't sound like that voiceover from the trailer. Too much other stuff about this game looks lined up to be different and in a good way. I would love to see everything work out very well. At number 18 is Tazier Studios, the guys behind Little Nightmares' new game called Reanimal. They're billing this one as a surreal co-op horror adventure game starring an orphan brother and sister who are trying to rescue their friends. In certain ways, it looks a lot like Little Nightmares, but in certain other ways, it's obviously very different. Little Nightmares, not a co-op game. This one is. It has something I particularly like, a camera that is shared between the two players, because you can play this local co-op if you want, but you can also play it over the internet, of course. I like the local co-op. I like the shared camera because it is designed specifically to, quote-unquote, maximize claustrophobia and tension. I like that because it looks very cinematic. Like, it kind of looks like a more three-dimensional cinematic Little Nightmares, but maybe a little scarier. And obviously, the Little Nightmares games are wonderful games. I'm excited for this one. We don't know when it's coming out, but it is coming to PS5, Xbox Series, PC. And number 17 is Arc Raiders. Now, obviously, this isn't a new announcement, but this is a game that went dark a while ago. It's a third-person PvPvE action survival shooter. This comes to us from the developer behind The Finals, Embark. And if you know me, you know I love The Finals. I will also say The Finals, I think, works well with a free-to-play model, but I'm pretty happy with Arc Raiders. They're not going that way. This is more of an extraction shooter. And to be frank, free-to-play plus extraction shooter equals a bunch of crappy microtransactions. And Helldivers 2 kind of showed that if you just charged a premium price up front, the live service aspects of a game can be mitigated and the game can just be made better. This is a post-apocalyptic extraction shooter, and it comes to us from a Dynamite studio. Honestly, I love these guys. Honestly, I've wasted so much time in The Finals, I'd be sold without knowing anything about this one. But it's got a great aesthetic. And if they ace extraction shooter as much as they ace PvP, it's a foregone conclusion this one's going to be good. You can sign up for a playtest now. They're going to start playtesting this game in the fall. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to release next year. And number 16 is Marvel Rivals, which is kind of Marvel's Overwatch. Now, that, to be fair, is reductive. Jake actually covered a little bit on Marvel Rivals previously. You can look up his video for a little bit of information. I think saying Marvel's Overwatch is basically all you need to say in a short thing, but that video is definitely better at explaining at least his observations in more depth. The thing we know about it that we didn't before is that it's coming in December, specifically December 6th. And they also confirmed that all characters will be unlockable and free to play. So you're not going to be spending money to play as a certain character, and that's good. That's always an annoying practice with a game like this with known quantities like, Spider-Man, Venom, the X-Men, etc. But yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this one a spin. I kind of think it's a good idea. Honestly, I kind of wonder why this isn't the superhero game we got years ago. It seems like a no-brainer to do this genre with Marvel instead of that awful Avengers game that they made. We'll see. And number 15 is Herdling, a completely new game. Nothing we've seen before. Herdling is coming to us from the developers behind Far, Changing Tides, and Lone Sails. It is a shepherd game. You're shepherding some pretty cool looking beasts, honestly. They're called calicorns, and they got interesting multicolored fur and horns and eyes and stuff. And this is a different looking game. A game that, frankly, people who complain about video games as one-dimensional or violent should be forced to play a herding game. Honestly, it looks good, though. I'm not saying that, scoffing at the idea of a non-violent game. In fact, it's very interesting looking. Just something different, refreshing. Frankly, very pretty. I don't know if it gives anybody else the Breath of the Wild vibes, but I'm always there for that. Although I would say this is a pretty distinct example of it. We don't have a release date, but I put it on my wish list. It's something new that doesn't look annoying, and frankly, that's rare as hell nowadays, so I'm all for it. I hope it turns out to be as good as it looks. And number 14 is Batman Arkham Shadow, and I'm still at a point where I'm pretty skeptical of VR games. There are a few that are really good. I like them a lot. Half-Life Alyx comes to mind. But when you just say the words, Batman Arkham VR, I go, ooh, don't ruin the Arkham games. But we have seen what the gameplay is going to look like in this, and holy hell, it looks to me like the VR must-have game. Who the hell doesn't want to be Batman? And it looks like if you got to move around like Arkham Batman. We had seen a little bit about this, enough to make it so that I was interested. But the footage we got out of Gamescom, I am sold. Unfortunately, it's a Meta Quest exclusive, so if you don't have that, you'll need it. That being said, that's also the all-in-one VR headset that you don't have to have plugged into something to play on, and I think that's probably gonna figure into the game feeling great. But also, it just looks like a hell of a lot of fun. This is coming in October, and I am absolutely going to get it. No questions. At number 13 is King of Meat, a game that I definitely didn't realize that I needed, and I certainly don't understand the title at all. Nothing about the game says King of Meat to me, but King of Meat is such a great name, I don't care. This is a game where they put you in user-generated dungeons, meaning you got a dungeon creator, hack and slash dungeon battler. I think in some ways it kind of feels like Fall Guys if it was a hack and slash co-op game. It's got a bit of a Crash Bandicoot feel in terms of the art style also. Definitely cool. I mean, everything here looks very cool. It's one of those games where I can imagine myself wishing for it as a kid playing video games, going, I hope one day games are this. So you can bet I'm at least going to give this one a try. We don't have any information about release stuff. It is an Amazon game, which is somewhat surprising, honestly, because it looks fantastic, but I'm there. At number 12, it's Monster Hunter Wilds. They've been teasing us with little things, explaining little things, telling us about various parts of the game. And this third trailer is epic as hell. We get to see a big monster fight. I'm pretty excited, honestly, because this trailer really showed off how pretty Monster Hunter could be. It's a follow-up to Monster Hunter World, and Monster Hunter World's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong. But this looks like if you took the color palette of Monster Hunter Rise and made a game with hardware that's better than the hardware that Monster Hunter World came out on. And these monsters look absolutely cool as hell. Got like a spider with the rose on its butt. Sounds dumb, but it's not. You have some four-legged beasts. They also set up a few narrative things, but let's be clear, narrative things aren't why I'm playing Monster Hunter. But this trailer is absolutely full of why I play Monster Hunter. This game's coming out in 2025. How can you not want the next Monster Hunter? And number 11 is Predecessor, a game that it has a bit of a beta version history, a lot of playtesting, but I haven't really paid attention to it. I didn't really understand what it was, but I get it. The launch trailer kind of made it click. It's somewhere between a MOBA and a third-person shooter, and it looks pretty damn cool. Now, I'm recording this literally a couple hours later, so understand I haven't had the time to jump into this game, which is now launched and available to play on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox. It's also supposedly a spiritual successor to Epic's MOBA, which was called Paragon. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not particularly familiar with Paragon. I remember it vaguely, but honestly, I don't think it matters. This looks cool. Like I said, it is launched. You can go to the Steam page, hit play the game. It's going to download in your Steam account. I'm going to do that later. I'm quite interested in it, honestly. I hope it's as good as it looks. And number 10 is Linked Banner of the Spark, coming to us from a developer called FuzzyBot. I've seen a few people call it cozy action, but I don't really care. Apparently, they just got tired of building dark, gory games, so they made FuzzyBot to make these vibrant games. None of that matters. This looks cool. To me, it looks like an action roguelike combined with Mega Man. Like, I see a lot of Mega Man stuff in here, and it's got the same kind of color palette, bright, fun-looking, cartoony robot stuff from Mega Man. Like, it looks like a hell of a lot of fun, but it's also like an isometric-y, top-down-y, action brawler, semi-shooter. I don't know. I like it. I like what I'm looking at. Just because it's bright doesn't mean it's a cozy game. Cozy games are like quiet and not typically fast-paced. It's not that they're bad. It's just I think that that's a weird thing to call what I'm looking at here. I think this looks great, honest. I'm super psyched to play this one. The goal of it is to rebuild your home, blah, 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 whatever. It sounds like a plot that is literally as paper thin as Mega Man. I mean, I know I keep bringing up Mega Man, but it does give me that vibe in a great way. But it's also something new. I'm all there for this. It's coming out next year. And number 9 is Monument Valley 3. If you know Monument Valley, you know. It's a really, beautiful but kind of weird perspective shifting puzzle game. And this is honestly, it looks like a fairly big update to what I generally think of Monument Valley. It looks like a much bigger adventure. Although, I mean, there's not a huge amount of information other than it's coming in December 10th specifically. I suspect that if you like the previous games, you'll like this one. I'll probably like this one. But it's Monument Valley, and it's more of it, and it's probably bigger and better. Beyond that, it's kind of just up to the devs to give us something good. I believe they will, though. And number 8 is Masters of Albion, and it's a good-looking game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not mocking anything that I'm seeing here. It looks cool, but it's also a Peter Molyneux game. So it's a God game that I've seen a lot of people already call a combination between Populous and Black and White. Now, obviously, like I said, our man Molyneux is known kind of for over-promising and under-delivering, even though he's delivered a lot of good games in the past. A lot of clunkers, too. But this one doesn't really seem like he's trying to overhype it. You do the God game stuff during the day, you do tower defense during the night. Actually, a few games recently have been taking this kind of approach. Everything from Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, to Pikmin 4. It's something that kind of works pretty good, actually. And honestly, this looks workable. It looks like something that's good. It looks promising, looks fun. Our man isn't talking about Web3. He's not talking about cryptocurrency. He's not telling you that his game is the end-all be-all. And it looks fun. I view that as a win. But the real win is, of course, that the game is good. We don't have a release date yet, but I'm there. I'll give it a shot. Make me like you again, Peter Molyneux. Please do. And number 7 is a Squid Game video game. Yep, this is connected to the upcoming Season 2 of Squid Game. So yes, in between Season 1, the commercialization and business critical Squid Game has turned into a media empire of its own. Definitely a big business. But hey, that's fine if the Squid game turns out good. It's honestly kind of strange. It gives you all like the cool Squid Game games, and it does it cel-shaded and kind of whimsically, but of course, I mean, it's a corporate nightmare, hugely dystopian, but hey, it looks like a lot of fun, honestly. I particularly like all the ragdoll stuff in the trailer. Also appreciated the Terminator 2 nod. I don't know, it looks fun. I don't really know how it plays, but I like what I see. That's coming December 26th, a Boxing Day gift for us all. At number 6, we got Civilization 7 gameplay. Try to say that 3 times fast. 6s and 7s. We also know it's landing on February 11th. That's probably the big piece of information. But honestly, to me, it's looking pretty promising. It doesn't look like it's just a rehash of Civilization 6. It seems like they did a lot to rethink some of the systems. Particularly, they've come up with this new Ages system, which basically rearranges the long game into 3 segments: Antiquity, Exploration, and Modern. They also teased some interesting results to different kingdoms. I like what I'm seeing with that. And while those are some interesting features, it does look like they haven't really messed with the core of the game, which is good because Civilization has always been an interesting series that I've enjoyed. And like I said, it's coming out on February 11th. At number 5, we got Black Ops 6 gameplay, specifically campaign gameplay. And you feel the pressure of the badly received Modern Warfare 3 campaign mounting. Obviously, they don't just make a game in reaction to last game every year. They have several different developers that work on Call of Duty games. Raven Software, in my opinion, looks like they're going to drop a banger on us in terms of a campaign. So I'm ready for it. Give me the campaign, guys. Come on. Obviously, I have to wait till October 26th. But yeah, I'm looking forward. And number 4 actually isn't a video game, but it's a series of stories based on various video game IPs. It's called Secret Level. It's coming to Amazon. It's made by the people who made Love, Death, Robots, which are, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen those shows. And there are a couple of notable inclusions here. First off, it looks like Keanu Reeves is starring in an Armored Core short. That was the thing that popped out from the trailer the most at me. I think they were intending for that to happen, though. There are other notable IPs. Probably the one that I'm most interested in is actually Mega Man. I don't know, with these people at the helm, what I've seen looks pretty fun. Obviously, we won't know until it's out, but I think Amazon has showed us they are willing to take video game IP seriously with the Fallout show, so I'm there. At number 3, we got a new trailer and an Xbox/PC release date for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. First off, the trailer, hard-hitting machine game stuff. It's got the charm. It's got some pretty cool combat with some nice hard-hitting sound effects. The whip looks fun. How can you argue with this? Also, the release date. Again, it's coming to Xbox and PC first on December 9th. We're going to see it in spring 2025 on PS5. It looks great. This looks like the Indiana Jones game that everybody's been waiting for. There have been decent ones in the past, but this really looks like they got it. And number 2, it's Mafia: The Old Country. Let me just say, this is exciting. So Mafia, they're great games. They're set in America, typically. This one, not so much. If you're excited for the real mob, let's say, that's what we're talking about here. It's going to be set in early 20th century Sicily, and what a great idea, honestly. And that's not to say I don't think that I would like another Mafia game in the United States. I would. But I think this is a refreshing change of pace, and I think it's got a lot of potential. We only got a teaser, and we know that it's coming in 2025. At least that's the current plan, so stay tuned for more info on that one. And finally, they announced a new Borderlands game, which, yeah, of course. If I were them, I would move on from that film as quickly as I possibly could. So good call on 2K's part. The games are, of course, good. That's the reason why they wanted to make a movie about them. I mean, if you know Borderlands, you know what this is at least going for. They're looter shooters, perhaps one of the premier examples of the genre. 2K, the publisher, says, see if you have what it takes to go down in history as a legendary vault hunter as you search for secret alien treasure, blasting everything in sight. Frank Reynolds would be proud. Obviously, we didn't get any gameplay, so there's nothing particularly remarkable to talk about in terms of that. But you know what Borderlands is. If you don't, I kind of described everything you need to know. If you don't like that kind of game, don't play Borderlands. If you do, it's a great example of it. Borderlands 4 is coming in 2025, so stay tuned for more information. I have a few bonus announcements. In Starfield, there's a new vehicle available, and Shattered Space is set for September 30th. We got our first trailer for Berserker Kazan. We've only gotten teasers and little segments of gameplay. This, I think, really gives us a better idea. You should check it out. It's pretty cool. We also got a new look at the Diablo 4 expansion, Vessel of Hatred. That's coming out October 8th, so get ready for more Diablo 4. Dune Awakening got some gameplay. It's, frankly, a very pretty game. I'm trying to be cautious about it, but it has potential. We showed off another game from the developer, but they're also coming out with Little Nightmares 3. That gameplay, of course, looked very cool. And the final one I've got for you today is Goat Simulator Remastered. Goat Simulator. We got a nice, funny trailer, and honestly, of course, yes, bring me the Goat Simulator. Trailer was funny as hell. Goat Simulator's funny as hell. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Like, comment, and subscribe.